Hello everybody, I'm Emily,
And I'm Sydney.
and this is our presentation on I statements. So what are I statements? I statements are a helpful communication tool that can be used to resolve conflict and encourage healthy communication between people. I statements use the word I in front of the sentence instead of you. So an example is, I feel hurt or I feel sad, instead of saying, you are a bad person, you did this. They help a person express their feelings, and it focuses the conversation on the feelings rather than aiming to make the other person in the conversation feel guilty, feel like they're in trouble, stuff like that.
Where do I statements originate? On the screen, you see a man by the name of Dr. Thomas Gordon. Dr. Thomas Gordon was a clinical psychologist. He created many different communication tactics and mainly focused in communication between parents, teachers, and youths. He created I statements in the 1960s in response to how defensive you statements can come off. His reason for creating them was to better communication between people and to lead to more conflict resolution.
Yeah. So Sydney, do you want to give an example of a you statement, and then we can kind of explain why it's defensive?
Yeah, of course. A you statement could be, you didn't do the dishes this morning.
Yeah.
You are lazy.
Yes, very targeted, feels like you're getting attacked. But instead of saying, I feel like I do everything around here, I feel like I'm the only one contributing. Like that gives space for the other person to say how they feel or how they interpret the situation. It also just takes some of the blame off of them.
Yeah. And it can actually give a place to talk about miscommunications. There are sometimes that some conflicts are created solely through miscommunication.
Right.
They thought the division of labor was different. Maybe they assumed this was okay.
Right. Or maybe in their household, one person did all the work. You never know how they see things. So you don't want to automatically just call somebody names or target sentences at them with you sentences when you don't understand the full story.
Exactly. When and why do we use I statements? We use I statements when we're in conflict and need to express our emotions. We do this because using I statements can be used to better understand our part in the issue and to lessen the shift of blame. If we lessen the shift of blame, it gives us more room to actually work on the issue at hand and working on the root of the issue. We use this especially when someone does something we don't like or we feel hurt. We use this especially when someone does something we don't like or we feel attacked by their actions. As social workers, we will see this be used in family, couples, and group therapy or counseling. And Emily actually brought up earlier that we could also use this between coworkers or even when we have to confront a client.
Yes, because if you, as a social worker, say use I, and you say how you see the situation, then the client then can give their opinion or give their viewpoint, because they may be looking at it completely different than you are. And then with colleagues, you want to use a tactic like I statements because you don't want there to be an unprofessional situation happen where it's escalated and there's conflict in the workplace.
Exactly.
So what does the research say about I statements? Research has proved time and time again that I statements are a useful and effective way to communicate, and people using I statements have had many positive outcomes. According to the article, The Power of I Statements, Communicating Feelings Effectively, research shows that I statements improve communication, increase empathy and cooperation, and enable conflict resolution. Certain studies have also shown that using I statements can actually help calm the situation down and prevent escalation, as well as actually being more likely to actually solve the problem at hand. The article, What Are I Feel Statements, states, a 2018 study found that the use of I language was the most effective strategy to use during conflict. So there's even studies that show that this is the most effective strategy compared to other strategies. And it is definitely effective compared to you statements, because research also shows that using you statements makes it completely less likely to be resolved, and it also increases the danger that the conversation is going to be escalated and people are going to get even more angry. So now we are going to role play it. We were originally going to role play with the class, but since it is now like this, we will be role playing with each other. Sydney, I'm going to give you a you statement, and I want you to do your best to turn it into an I statement. All right. Okay, Sydney, so your you statement is, you always make me do the laundry. Do you ever do anything?
A good I statement for that would be, I feel like I do more work on the laundry and I don't feel supported in the household chores.
Yes. See how my example was very angry, very argumentative, very just mean, like just targeting, attacking Sydney. And then notice how when Sydney changed it to an I statement, then it sounded like her feelings, like she just wanted to be understood. And me as the listener is more likely to be receptive to that.
Yes.
Okay, another example is, you never ask me to go out. Do you even like me anymore?
I feel like we don't spend time together anymore and I don't feel appreciated.
Yeah.
Instead of claiming that somebody doesn't care for you and placing all the blame in the relationship onto them, you rather look at it from the standpoint that it's an issue that both of you can work through together.
Yes, because you don't know if that person was just busy. Like, it's better to go into it letting them explain their side and letting them explain themselves rather than just accusing them and blaming them and just attacking them right off the bat.
Exactly.
Okay.
Real life example of I statements. So there are many real life situations that could be resolved using I statements.
So in our scenario, we have Mary and Michael. John. They just recently got divorced, and they are trying to talk about a fair custody agreement that would allow both of them to see their two children regularly.
Mary argues that she should get the kids every weekend because she does most of the household labor for them and is the main one taking care of them.
Yes, like she's the one doing all the laundry, cooking all the dinners, that kind of stuff. So one way that John could respond is by saying, "You are so selfish, Mary. You never see what I did for this family. You just want to take my kids away." So that's an example of a you statement that he could use. This will most likely escalate the situation and make everybody upset.
If John were to use an I statement in place of that you statement, he could de-escalate the situation and possibly resolve the conflict, allowing for a healthier co-parenting relationship between him and Mary.
Yes. So a better response for John that would make him feel heard, while also not attacking Mary, would be, "I feel like the work I do for this family is unappreciated. I may not fold the laundry, but I maintenance all the vehicles and mow the grass. I feel like I won't get enough time for my kids if I never see them on the weekends, which is when I am off work." So this allows John to express his concerns and express his feelings, while also not just straight up attacking Mary, even though in this situation Mary is being quite mean. Like she's,
And I also like that his I statement doesn't, dog what Mary's saying.
Yes.
He's not saying, well, I don't care that I don't do the laundry. He's saying,
Right.
I don't, but I do these other things.
Yes, because it seems like in this situation, we don't know for sure, but it seems like John really does pull his weight. He just does it differently than Mary. And so Mary is just not understanding that John still does a lot of the work, even though it's not in the way that she thinks that he should.
Yeah, exactly.
So it allows them to both express their feelings, both get heard, and then possibly, maybe after this, they can create a custody agreement that's fair to both of them.
Yeah. And like we had said, it can open the door for a healthier co-parenting relationship between the two.
And that would be better for everybody involved. So using I statements just benefits everybody. It just resolves conflict, keeps stuff from escalating, getting too crazy. It's just an overall good technique that is also backed by research.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for listening. These are our references.